Hi there, I'm Almut, and today I'm going to show you how to create and install your first MetaModel. As you might already know, MetaModels is a very powerful extension for the great Contao CMS, and with this extension, you can easily manage structured data and view it on your website as lists and detail views. And you can also add filtering and sorting, and you can do this in multiple languages. So use cases could be product catalogs, address and employee lists, picture galleries, properties for rent and sale, multilingual content of texts and pictures, and anything that has a homogeneous data structure. But in this video, for beginners, we will start with a very simple employee list, as you can see here. And every data record has a name, first name, a department, and an email. So I will walk you now through the MetaModels extension installation using Composer. Please make sure that in your Contao backend you have the Composer package management installed and that you also have a PHP version 5.5 or ideally 5.6 running on your server. And please be aware that at the moment, MetaModels will not run with PHP 7 yet. So let's click on Package Management. Now type in MetaModels/bundle_all and click on Search. So for beginners, it is highly recommended to select the MetaModels bundle all for the installation. This can save yourself a lot of hassle because it makes sure that you have all the MetaModels packages available in one go, which will meet the most requirements. So now let's mark this package to install. And here in this, we will choose feature releases and mark package to install. And now we could do a dry one, but as this is a fresh new installation, I will just say update packages. So now it's finished. Click close. And now what we have to do is to update our database. Click on Update Database. And now we have the MetaModel Bundle All installed. So as we now have successfully installed the MetaModels Bundle All here, and our database is up to date. Yeah, let's build the cache here. Now let's create our first MetaModel. So on the left menu, click on the MetaModels icon here. And now let's click on New MetaModel and click here on the clip folder icon. So now let's give it a name. We want to create an employee list. So let's name it employee. And the table name, let's prefix it with mm_ to make sure it's a MetaModels table. Employee list. So as we start with a simple example here, you do not need to care about translation and advanced settings. So just hit save and close. And now we are done. We have created our first MetaModel. And here you can see all the components. So let's go ahead and set them up. So the first thing you will set up with a new MetaModel is the component attributes, which is here, define attributes. So before you start here, it is always a good idea to outline which attributes you will actually need. So here I made a little list. For our employee list, we are going to need 5 attributes, which are the name, the first name, email, and department, of course, and also an attribute published to control whether a data record is published or not. Here I also outlined the name for the column that we will set up. And here you can see that all of our attributes are of attribute type text, and only the published attribute is of type checkbox. So let's go ahead and create our attributes. Click on New Attribute, click on the clip folder icon, and now we will choose attribute type of text for the name. So column name, also name, description, this will be the last name. Save and new. Our next attribute will be the first name. It will also be type of text. So first name. I will keep it short here. Save and new. The next one will be email, which will always also be type of text. Save and new. Then we have the department, also attribute type of text. Save, and then the rest of the fields will appear. Department, and save and close. And now we will also need another attribute, a published checkbox to control whether a data record is published or not. So let's create another attribute. Click on the clip folder icon where you want to store it. And now we need type of checkbox. So we name this published. Published or not. And published. So save and close. And now we have all the attributes that we need for our first meta model, the employee list. So let's go back to our meta models overview and set up our next component, which are the render settings. Now we will need a render setting to control how the data will look like in the backend and front-end lists. So to create a new render setting, click on the component Define Render Settings. And now click on New. And now we'll give it an appropriate name, like this one will be for the backend. So we will name it BE for backend list. And we will mark it as default. And for the rest on this page, we will just leave everything as it is. And we will hit save and close. So now we have here our first render setting. So the next step will be to add and activate our attributes. So you have to click here on Define Attribute Settings. And now we are going to use this button, Add All. And now we are going to select all of our attributes, hit continue, and hit save and close. And now you can see, as per default, all the attributes are not activated yet. They are shown in red. And for our backend render setting, we will only activate the department, the first name and the last name. And email and published, we will leave it unactivated. Now let's go back to all render settings of employee list. And now we are going to create a render setting for the front end. So hit new, and let's give it a name. For the front end, it should be front end list. Now we will leave everything as it is, and we will just check hide labels and save and close. And now we are going to add and activate also here the attributes. So add all and select all. It's just the same procedure as with the backend list. Continue and save and close. And also here all the attributes are deactivated by default. But here for the front end, we will activate all of them except the last one, which is the publish checkbox. This one we are going to need it only for the filter to control whether a data record is shown or not. And now, as you can see here with all render settings of employee list, you have successfully set up 2 render settings. Now let's go on with the next component. Now let's go back to our MetaModels overview here. And now we are going to set up the next component, which will be an input screen. So go to this icon, click on it, define input screen, and click on new input screen. And now you might want to give it a name like input. And the next important setting will be the backend integration. So here we will choose integration standalone. And then you can see this small widget appears here. So in this backend section, we will choose MetaModels. So this setting will make our input screen appear here in the MetaModel section later. And then for data manipulation permissions, we will allow editing of items, we will allow creating of items, and allow deleting of items. So hit save and close. And now you have your first input screen here. So our next step will be to add attributes and to activate them. This is just the same like before with the render settings. Click here on the very right icon, edit the settings of input screen. And then we are going to choose add all and select all, continue. And now we hit save and close. And again, all the added attributes are still unactivated, so we have to activate them with the little green eye icon. Please be aware that your new input mask is not visible yet in the backend. You will be able to see it when we have finished our next step. So now let's go back to the MetaModels overview in the backend. Now let's skip the next 2 components, the search settings and the filter, because first I want to set up the input-output combinations with you, that we are able to see our input mask in the backend. So let's click on the input-output combinations here. And now we are going to choose administrator for the backend group. And for input screen, we will use our input screen input. And for the render setting, we will use backend list. So save and close. And now, as you can see, a new icon appeared here in the left backend menu, which is our input screen input mask employee list. And now we are able to, we could add a new item here. And now you can see all our attributes where we can store our data now. So now let's check out whether our input mask works, and let's hire some people. And let's type in a name and first name. I just see that my descriptions here are not the smartest, because it should be not your name, it should be the employee's name and the employee's email. But anyway, it will not affect our inputs here. I can change it later in the attribute settings. So let's give an email and published, and save and close. And here we have our first entry. So now I can go on and enter a lot of employees here. So this will take a while. Now, as you can see here, I was very busy and I have added a lot of new employees to our list. But now I would like to have a more clear layout here. Instead of the list view, I want to change it to a table-based layout. So I'm going back to my input screen settings, to MetaModels here, and I click on the input screen component. And now I'm going to click on edit the input screen. And here I want to choose use column-based layout. So check this and hit save and close. And now let's have a look how the layout changed. And now you can see this is much more clear now. As of now, we still can't see our list in the front end. There are several options available for data output with MetaModels. In this example, I'm going to use the article content element MetaModel list to output our list. So you will have to prepare an article which can contain our content element. So here I have a very simple site structure. So in this article, I'm going to create a new content element. And I'm going to choose the content element MetaModel list here. It's at the very bottom. And now I am choosing a headline, our employees, and I will choose the MetaModel employee list that we have just set up. And I'm going to order it by name. And I'm going to choose the front end list render setting here. And then I hit save and close. And now let's have a look at the front end preview. And now you can see we have our unstyled employee list here. Now there is one last component to be set up for our little example here. So go back to the MetaModels overview. And now we have to set up the filter for our published, unpublished state. So click on define filter here and click on new. And now give the filter a name. In our case, we name it published. Save and close. And now go to the last icon here, define attribute settings for filter. Now click new and paste it here with a little arrow. Now we need a filter of type published state, because we want to switch published and unpublished items. Enable it. And here type in a meaningful comment like show only published items. And this is for the attribute published for our little checkbox here. And then hit save and close. And now we have to activate this filter for our front end output. Okay, let's apply the filter. Go back to articles and open the article you have set up and open the meta model list, the content element. And now we go to filter settings to apply. And here we select the published filter, which we have just set up, and click save and close. And now we can have a look in our front end. And as you can see, the list is much shorter now because the published filter settings are activated. So let's go back to our employee list in the backend. And what I really miss here now is the little green eye icon to quickly publish and unpublish my items. Let's get this eye icon now. Let's go back to the meta models. Click on the attribute settings. And now let's edit here the publish checkbox attribute. And what we need here is the list view checkbox. So check it. And this will be enough to have the little green eye icon. If you would like to have your own icon, you can upload here your own icons for the published and for the unpublished state. So hit save and close. And now we can have a look at our employee list. And as you can see here now, we have the green eye icon to activate and unactivate our items. Now back to the front end. Now as we have set up the components of our meta model, and we have set up the front end output with the content element meta model list in our article, the last thing that we have to do is to add some styling. I have already prepared an external CSS style sheet and I have applied it to my layout in the backend. So all I need to do now is to reload the page with my CSS applied. And now you can see it looks much more neat and clear. But now we might want to go a little bit further and we might want to add our labels on top of our list, like here, name, first name, email, and department as a heading. So this is done by editing the template, the list template. So let's go back to our backend and edit our template. So we go to templates here in the left menu. Then we choose new template. And now we are looking for the template CE meta model list HTML5. Create template. And now we will change the name here in custom meta model list custom. Save and close. And now we click here on edit the file. And now we want to add a div structure to add the headings for our labels. So I have prepared a simple div structure. You can see here I have a name, first name, email, and department. And this will be rendered on top of our meta model list. Save and close. All we have to do now is to apply our custom meta model list template to our front end output. let's go back to our article, open the article and go to your content element, MetaModel list. And now we can choose here at MetaModel rendering, custom template to use for generating. We can select our custom MetaModel list template. So select it and save and close. And now go back to the front end and reload the page. And as you can see, now we have our headings that we just added into our template. So that's it. We are finished with our first meta model. I hope you liked it. Yeah, this is a typical error if your host doesn't have enough power. Let's go back with the browser. Let's have a look in settings and go to composer settings. And we will choose here the standalone process. And now we have to add here the correct path. In my case, the PHP path is this one. And I will try it now with this setting and run the composer installation again.